Oh. What's going on, guys? TylerPokeTrainer in the house, and I'm here with a brand new draft breakdown, the SPPL, the Showdown Premier Partner League, which is stupidly hard to say. I don't know how I managed to do that first time without screwing it up. But anyhow, this is a slightly different draft to what we normally have, because this is actually a two-person draft. And I am not two people, unfortunately. I might be tall and big enough to be two people, but I'm only one person. So joining me in this team is none other than Tyler, aka Record Man, aka God knows what, because he keeps changing his name. Tyler, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Ramon, my teacher in the house.
Alright, so how about you explain how the SPPL works? Explain the draft.
Okay, so we don't draft two different teams. We draft the same team together, and we work on a draft plan in a call or in a chat. And each battle, we have to be in a call together or some sort of communication, and the same battle using the same Pokemon Showdown username, just working together as the same team. The other coaches also our teams. So yeah, you can. I don't really know anything else.
Yep, so pretty much it's a partner league, so instead of one draft, or instead of one coach per team, it's two. So it can be quite tricky having to work with somebody else who might have different ideas to you. But because, of course, I am in a two-person team, I can't just standardly use my Royal Bomber for Bombi's logo. So we decided, you know what would be stupidly funny? Let's fuse two of our mascots together and see what the heck happens. So we decided to end up becoming Team Rabomcario with a Lucario fused with a Rabombi. Personally, I like the Rabombi aspect more, but that's just my opinion. Tyler can agree to disagree with me as much as he likes. But few things that's worth pointing out. This is a National Dex draft, which means that we are drafting Pokemon that are not exclusively in the Galar Dex, as well as some of the Galar Dex Pokemon, as well as there is a Mega Evolution in this, which of course is effectively replacing the Dynamax and Gigantamax, as they are banned in this league. So it's kind of a bit old school with a new bit of spice to it, which is kind of cool. But either way, let's get into the first round pick, and we both pretty much were on the same page with our first pick, which was Mega Venusaur. Of course, with Mega Blastoise going super early, Mega Venusaur makes so much sense. This thing's got a lot of bulk in both defense and special defense, as well as a monstrously high special attack for a Pokemon. And alongside that, it has the ability Thick Fat, which does actually weaken two of its known weaknesses in Fire and Ice, which means it's only really susceptible to Psychic and Flying type moves, which is very nice. It gets access to a lot of recovery in things like Leech Seed, Synthesis, and Giga Drain, as well as hard-hitting stabs and Sludge Bomb. Nice coverage moves in Earthquake. Its physical attack is not that strong, but it is actually serviceable to work with. Does get access to Toxic and things like that. So it's an all-round nice and bulky Pokemon, which can be really obnoxiously difficult to take down. Alright, I'll let you explain the next one, Tyler. See if you can match me. Right, next pick is gonna be
Tapu Fini on the squad, with that Misty Surge ability. It's shiny, is amazing, let's be honest. Normally runs like leftovers. I've run it with Ayabu Berry before in previous leagues. Get Scald, some other moves. Run over the moves, please.
Yeah, it gets access to Defog, which is one of the primary reasons it's really good with Mega Venusaur. It gets rid of rocks relatively easy, as well as not being actually weak to rocks. Does, of course, have a strong stab in Moonblast as well. Does get access to Taunt, which can prevent any Toxics or Hazards being set up. It gets a lot of... Well, it gets some nice little coverage moves. Does actually get the nice tech move Icy Wind, which can be used for good speed control. But yeah, it gets a lot of nice solid moves. It's a very decent bulky Pokemon. It could be good physically bulky or specially bulky, being the bulkiest of the Tapus, really. It's a perfect partner for Venusaur, and it's a very, very nice little part of a trio, as it is, of course, a Water type as well, which means that we do have a Water and Grass core patched up. So, next up, we're going to finish our Fire, Water, Grass core with probably my favorite Gen 8 Pokemon, and that is going to be none other than Cinderace. I use Cinderace, of course, in the ADL. I love this Pokemon a lot. Really fast, physically offensive, fire type with access to Sucker Punch and U-turn. It's a phenomenal user of the heavy duty boots item, as well as its signature move Court Change, which can bounce hazards back onto the enemy side of the field instead of keeping them on our side. It's a very cool little ability. The fact that it gets access to U-turn as well. There is potential, although it's not 100% confirmed yet, that it may be getting access to its hidden ability with the release of Pokemon Home at the end of this month, which could make this thing even more powerful. Libero is effectively the same as Protein. But yeah, it's very hard hitting, decent physical attack stat alongside having the best animation in Gen 8 and Pyro Ball. This thing hits like a truck. It's something you really got to pay a lot of attention to. Sucker Punch is nice because it can actually revenge kill things like Dragapult, which was picked up relatively early by another coach. So we've done pretty well with this. Very nice solid Fire, Water, Grass core with 2 relatively bulky mons and a very fast physical fire type, which is often very popular in Draft League format. So, next one, I think you can talk a lot about this Pokemon. Let's talk about our next pick, which is...
Our next draft pick is going to be Lucario on the team. My mascot. It gets the main, my personal opinion, main ability is Steadfast, but Justify is also really good, in my opinion. Gets priority in Bullet Punch, Close Combat's a really effective move. Also gets E-Speed for another priority attack, but Bullet Punch is a bit better. Extreme Speed is more power. I don't know if I've got any moves in this new generation. I haven't really gone into moves that much.
Not so much, no. No, it didn't get a lot of buffs. For some reason, my Lucario's deciding it's flashing on my screen, but that's fixable. No big deal. But yeah, Lucario, of course, can be physical, can be special. Typically, Life Orb can be seen with Specs and Scarf as well. Banded sets do exist. Very versatile Pokemon, which is always nice to have. It's a really good late game cleaner. Can definitely cause a lot of problems for people that don't really have good steel resists. So, definitely an interesting Pokemon to pick up. Of course, that now means we are almost done with our main competitive cores. We've got a Fairy, we've got a Steel type. So, we decided the next pick to pick up a Dragon type, and we opted for Zydogo. I love Zydogo a lot, with the fact that it has one of the most broken moves in the game in Thousand Arrows, which can hit even flying types. This thing can be banded, can be scarfed, can run a lot of things, does get extreme speed for priority as well, making it a very viable revenge killer. 1000 Arrows hits hard. It does get things like Outrage, which can hit really hard as well. Unfortunately, we don't have Z moves in this gen, so some of the really cool little Z-Tech moves it can get isn't viable here. But it is very powerful, it's very fast, so it's got a nice speed to it. Does lack bulk though, and being quad weak to ice can be an issue, but we do have good ice resists in the Cinderace and the Tapu Fini, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. Right, next pick is gonna be...
The next pick is gonna be the one and only Mandibuzz. I don't know why I said one and only. But in this, because it is National Dex Draft League and stuff, Pokemon that didn't have Defog because of Generation 8 and took away Defog, now still do have Defog, and Mandibuzz does get Toxic back, which normally in regular Gen 8 leagues it would not have Toxic. It's a really good bulky flying type Pokemon that gets knockoff Nasty Plot as well. I don't know why would you bring that, but with U-turn as priority, also gets Whirlwind for setup Pokemon, Tailwind to set up for our own Pokemon, and Rabombe GT can carry on from there.
So of course it is a solid flying type with access to Roost. It's known for its special bulk. U-turn's not a priority move, by the way, but it's a pivoting move. But yeah, it does get Sucker Punch, which is priority, so that's something to bear in mind. Unfortunately, no Pursuit, so it's not a Pursuit Trapper, but nonetheless, it does still hit really hard. It's a fantastic one with access to Heavy Duty Boots, which is a brilliant item in Gen 8. Means I can basically remove hazards for free with Defog. It's a very solid Pokemon. Being a Dark type, having a Psychic immunity is always nice because Venusaur doesn't really appreciate Psychic type moves. So it definitely helps us out a lot. It's a good pivot to get us into sweepers because it's not that easy to take down. Our Fairy resists are not super high at this point, but we do have things like Tapu Fini and Mega Venusaur that don't really care about Fairy type hits. So Mandibuzz fits very nicely on the team. Knockoff is very spammable, of course, and being Stab, it hits very hard. Getting rid of items is always a very key component. Alright, next up, we had one mascot, so we had to draft the other, of course. The Rabombe is here. Ribombee, a phenomenal Pokemon in general, the fastest sticky web setter in the game, with access to aromatherapy as well, being a very solid cleric. Does also get Baton Pass, which is kind of cool, but the only way it can abuse that really is with agility. Quiver Dance, of course, is a phenomenally broken setup move. Access to things like Moonblast as well as Bug Buzz hits incredibly hard. It does get nice coverage in Energy Ball with that grass coverage there. It's a very, very solid move. Psychic as well hits poison types. And the fact that it also gets Defog as well, because it's a tutor move, it's allowed in National Dex League, is a very, very solid, speedy Pokemon. Does also get U-turn, funnily enough, so it can actually pivot out if I really want to. But yeah, this thing is the best web setter. It still is. There's no rival to it. And of course, being my favorite Pokemon, there is absolutely no way I was ever going to participate in a draft without Ribombee in it. So, next up, I'll let you have this one, Tyler, is gonna be...
Okay. Our next draft pick is going to be Rotom Regular Form, which normally runs the item Choice Scarf or something like Cobra Berry if needed. Also, Life Orb is pretty nice for that damage. Fast Volt Switcher, well, not the fastest, but 91 is okay to outspeed some other Pokemon that aren't as fast electric types, and also just as fast the bottom tier electric types with the Choice Scarf that is a fast electric type. Also gets moves like Will-O-Wisp and Hex to whittle down more Pokemon, and Defog. Again, another Defog. We actually get a lot of Defogs in this team. Plane Split, just to even out the board against other bulky Mons that try to go hit to hit with Mandibuzz, or try to bulky the attacks of Cinderace or Zygarde into Sin.
Yeah, it's also being the fact it's a ghost type, it's actually a really nice spin blocker as well, because you can freely switch it in. The fact it also has Levitate, which means it's not actually a ground weakness, which is nice. It pairs up very nicely with things like Mandibuzz. Does also allow Cinderace to be less threatened, so as well as Lucario, of course, because our main sweepers are actually weak to ground. So having a ground immunity is a very nice way to round out our team. Being the fact it is our primary Volt Switcher, does give us a lot of momentum. We do have a good few U-turners, but having the Volt Switcher also helps as well, because it can force ground types being picked, or give us free switches. But next up, speaking of ground types, a lot of people who are familiar with my channel will remember Ginger the Mudsdale from GPL Season 1. I love Mudsdale a lot. It's a phenomenal physical waller, got even stronger in Generation 8. The reason why it got stronger is because it got access to the move Body Press. Body Press, of course, taking advantage of its defensive stat, which is buffed by Stamina, which is absolutely ridiculous. This thing can hit incredibly hard for a wall. I've had a lot of experiences running fully Phys-Def Mudsdale, shutting down things like Darmanitan, and various other good physically offensive threats. The only thing this thing lacks is reliable recovery, which is a little bit unfortunate. I wish it got Shore Up. It would have been such a great move for it. But nonetheless, gets great coverage moves in things like Heavy Slam, does get Superpower in close combat as well. Can get Iron Head as well if you want to use that. But yeah, we're pretty much mostly going to be running Body Slam. Does get Rocks, does get Toxic, does get Phasing with Roar, which is also nice. So yeah, very good physical wall. Can be really hard to take down. Being a ground type, it is weak to a few things, but they are all patched up by the rest of our team, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. We have also good special bulk in Mandibuzz and Tapu Fini, as well as Mega Venusaur, of course. So this is just such a great Pokemon to round out our bulk with. Having this access is always valuable. But next up on our draft is gonna be...
Okay, so our next draft pick, I actually put this pick for the team, I'm pretty sure. You were streaming, I was like, hey, look at this Pokemon. We need to start a Heal Baller on the team. I've used this Pokemon before. I don't know if you have used this Pokemon before.
I've used it on ladder, I've never drafted it.
Okay, so our next draft Pokemon is Meloetta, with the Searing Grace ability. Can also use that, what is the move called that ends
Relic Song.
Relic Song. The main reason that it came to my mind is because Heal Bell, our only really thing to get rid of being a cleric, to get rid of status moves across the team was her Bombay's Aromatherapy. It also has a really good, wait, I'm just forgetting words today.
Put your teeth in, Tyler, honestly.
Really good move though, with moves like Ice Punch, Knockoff. Also gets like Shadow Ball, Signal Beam, Stone Edge, Thunderbolt. It's a very coverage moveset. There we go. It also gets a U-turn, another momentum U-turner. Also gets Toxic, Thunder Wave, and Toxic to be able to put on those jazz attacks. Anything you would like to see about Meloetta.
Yeah, I love how versatile some of our mons have become. Like, we've picked up quite a versatile set of mons in our last few picks. And something that I think is nice with Meloetta is the fact that it can be physical or special. Typically, it's often seen running the special set, but it can run a very, very solid physical set too. The fact that it's also got a normal typing attached to it makes this a lot nicer because it does give us a ghost immunity, which again, we didn't really have prior to this. And I like Meloetta quite a lot. Of course, making it a fighting type can be a little bit interesting. But our only other fighting type is Lucario, so it definitely makes sense to add a little bit more pressure on our team. And last but by no means least, another familiar face for me in draft. This was actually one of my GPL Season 0 heroic mons. It's going to be Garbodor. I used to call it literal trash. This thing is actually a super nice mon. It can be physically bulky or specially bulky. Gets access to spikes, gets toxic spikes, as well as getting things like acid spray and clear smog. Does get haze as well, which is always very nice. Ability-wise, it's not always the best. Weak Armor's not a great ability for it. Aftermath can be very interesting, especially if you're running against contact moves a lot of the time. But yeah, generally speaking, you're really putting a lot of work. Stench is also nice for the additional flinch chance, but most people don't run that. But yeah, Garbodor's a very nice little bulky setter. Can be a good hazard setter, of course. But yeah, I like Garbodor a lot. It doesn't always offer offensive pressure that much, although it does get things like Gunk Shot and Poison Jab, which are nice stab moves. Does get Sludge Bomb if you choose to run a special. Gets a good plethora of coverage moves, though. Does get Giga Drain. Does get quite a few coverage moves that we can work with. But yeah, Garbodor mostly known for being a hazard setter, but it definitely rounds up our draft very nicely with access to spikes, T-spikes. So, yeah, indeed. Best words you can ever say to that. Indeed. We didn't draft Indeedy, sorry. But yeah, sorry to disappoint you, but that rounds up our draft. We don't actually know who we're going to be facing first yet. The schedule will be posted soon. I don't know if we're fighting this week or next. Most likely going to be next week. But either way, I'm looking forward to this. I know this is something that I'm definitely going to be finding interesting. This is more of a casual league, but it's kind of an interesting situation we got ourselves in. Team leagues are definitely something I've never done. I've done team tournaments. But either way, it's going to be a fun one for the channel. Hope you guys are looking forward to it as much as we are. Wait, what?
Wait. I don't know if you want to put this in your description, but possibly you want to after I say this. But in the bottom of the description for my video, at least, there will be the doc to our overall team, the clerics and stuff like that. You can only view it, you can't edit it or anything like that. But if you want to keep up to date with the score of where we're at during the league, like after the battles and stuff like that, we're only going to update it after the video has been posted though, so no one can see it before we actually post the battle. No spoilers. So yeah.
But yeah, I'll have the doc down below in mine. I always have the docs in my descriptions, as always. So yeah, it's going to be definitely a fun one. Let's see what we can get out of it. But either way, I'm pretty sure that's it, unless you want to say anything else, Tyler.
I don't think so.
Alright, so in that case, we are going to be getting on out of here. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Rabombi Teacher, and that is TylerPokeTrainer. Thank you so much. Hello. Stay safe, stay awesome, and we will see you guys in week 1. Take care.